welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today on this day, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman by the name of Vernon Davis. He is an author, speaker, and comedian, and I am looking forward to spending some time with him today, learning about the work that he does, and hopefully getting a laugh or two. But first and foremost, sir, as I always do, I take a quick moment to pause and say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside this time in your day to sit down and chat with me. And with that, Mr. Davis, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It is an honor and a privilege, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank y'all for seeing me because, as I say, I prefer to be seen than viewed. So we're doing okay. I'm just happy to be here. And since this is the holiday season, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy New Year, happy Hanukkah. And if you don't see this show until February, happy Groundhog's Day. I got it all in there.
So, got it all in there. All right. Well, let me get going because I have a short amount of time with you today, and I want to pack it all in and get some laughs as well. So let me go ahead and start. I mentioned your name is Vernon Davis, but what I didn't say is you're also known by Longhorn the Comedian. And you're one of these very special, very endearing people that bring some joy and laughter to our lives in all these trials and tribulations that we are having. So I want to thank you for that. But I was going through the website preparing for today, and I saw that one of the comics that you grew up with was Red Fox, and I grew up watching him. And it made me think, because I saw him live in Las Vegas when I was real young. Red Fox would not really survive on stage today with the material that he has. So my question is it challenging to get on stage with today's politically correct climate? And
okay, all right, here's the deal. Red Fox could very well perform today because there are a certain amount of the segment of the population that ain't as soft as some of these newer people.
Okay.
And then two, Red Fox is Red Fox. So there's I don't know, you know, you look like you're about 32, 33 years old. You may not remember.
I ain't got no money to give you. No money to give you. No checks to write.
I don't know if you remember Andrew Dice Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Dice Man. He's still doing his act from the 70s.
Really?
Yes. So as far as being a comedian today and being on stage today, yes, people are a little too touchy, in my humble opinion. So it does make it challenging. Now, I started comedy. Matter of fact, I opened for Dolomite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was when
Dignified Monkey. Oh, no.
No, yeah.
Never mind.
Hey, it's your show. It's your show. Okay. But I opened for when I first started doing comedy. I started in 1990. And I performed until 95. And my first wife said either give up comedy or give up the family. So I told her I was gonna miss her. But before I did that, I opened for Dolomite. And then I quit for 10 years. And my second wife said, you need to go back to doing what you love. Because I keep a day job. I don't care what anybody says. And the comics say, oh man, the struggle ain't real. You're not struggling, because I keep a very good day job. Mm-hmm. But she said, you need to go back to doing something that you love. So I got back into comedy in 2005. So I've been back 18, going on 19 years now. But I have seen how much comedy has changed since then. Just since from 95 to 2005, I had to relearn my act. I mean, not relearn my act. I had to create a whole new act. And I have learned over the 18 years, my act has traversed because of the plethora of different people that we are encountering and their sensitivities. Mm-hmm. I consider myself now don't get me wrong, I'm not hood, but I started off here in St. Louis at a place called Sanford's. A lot of, if you ask some of the older Black comics about Sanford's, this is where a lot of us cut our teeth. I mean, I started off with Sid and Sid the Entertainer and Lavelle Crawford and G Thing, and I thought I was urban. I'm a Black cowboy. I'm from Temple, Texas. We out there with stop signs and say, whoa.
I saw you with the cowboy hat.
Well, but I don't wear it in the house, but but my co-host, he gets to wear his all the time. That's show horn right there.
Okay.
But I've watched how comedy has changed dramatically. And so long story short, in the last 10 years, I have begun doing more mainstream, blue collar, corporate stuff. And even then, I have had people say that, hey, you a little racy or you a little edgy. I'm like, are you kidding me? You have not heard the joke of me having sex with the grandma on the walker, have you? Um, so, but yeah, there's an image for you. But
Yeah.
but my point is yes, that people have become a little
Really
sensitive,
sensitive. Yeah.
and it does make it difficult. But at the same time, I'll always ask before I perform at a show, what do you want? Do you want G? You want PG? You want PG-17? Or you
Mhm.
want R? And the most endearing thing I've ever had somebody say to me was, we watched your YouTube videos. Your PG is very good, but we want the R. We want both. The guy said we don't want one horn. We want both horns.
Oh, there you go.
I'm like, okay, well here you go. And ironically, it works. I had the privilege of doing a show the night Donald Trump got inaugurated into the White House. I was in a place called Arnold, Missouri, at an Elks Lodge. Okay, only thing darker than me out there was asphalt. Long story short, by the end of the night, I mean, these folks heckled my feature act. I mean, they heckled him. He was a big white guy. They heckled the hell out of him. I came on stage. I channeled Bernie Mac opening up my show. I ain't scared of you, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, la,
blah.
la, 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 yeah.
By the end of the night, I got 6 standing ovations from a room of about 300 people that did not, only thing, seriously, 300 people that did not look like me.
Okay.
But
Okay.
so, yes, comedy has changed. But at the same time, though, if you learn to relate to people and say things in a fashion that they can understand, and it's not even a matter of selling out, it's a matter of
Mm.
just speaking to people where they're at, accepting people where they're at, and being able to tell your story in a voice that they can understand makes all the difference in the world.
Okay, okay. I mean, glad you can do it because I find myself just in conversations, just double dutching, like, okay, are you gonna be okay with this? And it's just a very interesting time. Very
Well,
interesting.
the beautiful thing about being a comedian is all right, so there's a difference between being a joke teller, a comedian, and a comic. A joke teller, all they can do is just tell the jokes that they got.
Mhm.
A comedian can walk into a room and they've got enough material to where they can, if whatever they came in with, they can kind of go to a different direction. But a comic will read a room
Okay.
and understand who it is that they're working with. Um, and being able to work for the money that they I mean, you were paid to do this kind of show, then do that show. Now, yes, there are some big comics that say, man, I'm an artist. You can't tell me how to do my ish. That's fine. And you
Mhm.
have a big name behind you. But I do a lot of the stuff that I do is places that I've been invited back to 3, 4, 5 times
Okay.
simply because they know that I'm going to speak and they're going to laugh and I'm going to speak in a fashion that they're going to understand and only a few people are going to be or only a few people are going to be offended
Okay. Okay.
because I mean you cannot not offend anybody doing comedy. I don't care who.
Somebody's gonna somebody.
Somebody gonna get mad about you having sex with their grandma on the walk. I mean, it's just gonna happen. Okay,
You
it's
know what I'm
just gonna
saying?
happen.
It's gonna happen. And I think in the black community, well, my generation of black community, we grew up on your mama jokes. So, we are, I've always thought we had a little tougher skin, but so now it's just can't do that no more. Can't even tell your mama jokes.
Yeah, well, you know what? And you're right. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And like for instance, I have my very first show I mean, in St. Louis. I mean, like you said, we grew up in the hood. I got my very first show. I rarely do it anymore because my vocabulary has changed.
Okay.
Um, I've made it a habit of not to use the B word in my act,
Mm-hmm.
and I make it a habit not to use the N word in my act. And very rarely will you hear the MF or
Mhm.
basically, I don't do a lot of what unfortunately our people want to hear.
Mm,
That makes sense.
mm.
Um, and I've had people come up to me and go, man, you didn't cuss enough. I'm like, excuse me? Yeah. I'm like, well, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
And okay, I just opened for Jimmy Walker 2 weeks ago, JJ.
JJ. Dynamite.
Yeah, and we were on the stage in Hillsboro, Missouri, at a theater, 300 seat little theater.
He's still doing comedy.
Yes, he is. And the place was sold out, wasn't an empty seat in the building. And that man did not drop one word of profanity
Okay.
and got a standing ovation.
Okay. Tells you can
So
make people laugh without the vulgarity.
I've done it myself, but like I say, the unfortunately, I met a young lady one day. I invited her to a comedy show. I said, it's going to be a clean comedy show. And she goes, what is clean comedy? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, bless your heart. Uh,
You ain't been to the church comedy shows? The church comedy shows are always clean.
well, hold on. Let's talk about church comedy. I mean, because yeah, praise the Lord.
Praise the
Uh,
Lord. Praise the
hold,
Lord.
some churches can do it, but then some churches are afraid to do it because they say, oh, you too secular. Or,
Mhm.
I mean, I did a church show. There was and I did this joke, and what it was I did this joke about a stripper, and that's all the pastor heard was I said, let's just say your dream is to be a stripper.
Mhm.
That's all he said, but the rest of it was, but that's your dream to be that. But the punchline was just, the punchline was a positive, motivational kind of situation.
Mhm.
That's all he heard was that. Um, because of my name, I've had other comedians or other bookers not want to book me because they're like, man, there's no way in the heck I could bring a guy named Longhorn into the church. I'm like, it's a cow.
It's a cow with a. Well, let me ask you this: how did you get the name Longhorn?
I'm from Texas.
Okay, that's the answer that you go with, right? Okay.
Okay, there's a longer version of that story, but okay.
No,
Friend,
is it
friend of
clean?
mine,
Is it
it's
clean?
clean, it's clean,
Okay.
it's clean. Friend of mine saw me doing comedy. They used to, because everybody just wanted to call me cowboy, is what they wanted. Okay, because I do wear a cowboy hat when I perform.
Mhm.
And she went to me, and I used to tell these long, absurd, big stories. Okay. And she used to tell me, you're full of it. You're just full of that's crap. You're full of crap. So she goes to Texas and she sees a Texas Longhorn for herself.
Oh,
And she's like, oh my God, it's a huge beast. And then it took a dump right there in front of her. She said that's the biggest crap she ever seen in her life. So when she came back, she said, from now on, I'm calling you Big
oh,
Daddy Texas Longhorn.
Longhorn.
So it got shortened to
Longhorn. Okay. Okay.
true
Well,
story.
true story. When it comes to comedy shows, you've always got the opener and whatever. How do they decide who goes first and such?
Well, it's usually respect. I mean, you book a headliner. I have a feature. My feature is a female,
Okay.
and she's been traveling with me for 5 years. Her name is Carolyn Agnew.
Okay.
Very, very funny lady. But it just depends on the booker. And what they do is they book a headliner, and then they book it's supposed to all right, that show is supposed to crescendo. You have the all right, they funny, then you
Mhm.
have the funnier, then the headliner is supposed to top it all off. Okay.
Okay.
Some people will use the host who is the funniest person on the show. For instance, who is that? Like let's just say the Kings of Comedy, for instance. You may have DL Hughley play the host of the show. And people go, well, you're just hosting. What about? Well, yeah, but that host comes out in the first and does about 10 to 15 minutes. And then he comes up in between each comic after that. And I'm
Mhm.
just using DL as an excuse. I'm a
Got
big
it.
fan of DL. But it's picked basically by experience level.
Okay.
That's how it should be. But then there's is that you have to have that right mix of comedians on the
Okay. Okay.
show. You can't very it's very hard to put a clean comic in with a with a raunchy comic.
Mm.
You know,
Gotcha.
it's hard to put somebody in that's going to do all sex material, and then the next guy's going to do all political material. You know, there has to be a continuity to this.
Okay, okay. Yeah, you mentioned the reason and not to cut you off, the reason I asked you that question, and you mentioned DL, because I think it was about a year ago, I heard there was some sort of chaos about he was on stage with somebody who was going to go first or whatever, and it just was this big old,
Monique.
ah, okay. Yeah, it was this big old to-do thing.
Yeah.
So I guess, was that a situation where the booking agent didn't say, okay, okay.
From my let me make clear for those who watch this. From my understanding,
From my understanding, okay.
so
Let's
nobody.
move.
I'm not. Hey, these days you got to clarify everything. Okay?
Everything,
You
like
know.
we opened up and said, you just never know. It's so tricky to navigate these things these days. But let me move on. What inspired Mr. Longhorn? Were you the kid in school getting in trouble telling jokes, or what inspired you to this?
Okay. Well, Vernon was a straight A student.
Okay.
Honors classes, ROTC, played sports, had long Jerry curl down my back. I couldn't afford Jerry curl juice, so we used to just water down Crisco and slap it in my hair. But so I didn't. Hey, and it was used grease, so the fat girls loved me because I smelled like chicken all the time.
Mm.
But they followed me around anyway. We were poor and we moved a lot. Although I'm a military brat as well, I'm fourth generation Army. So military brat, and then I joined. I'm fourth generation. Our daughter is fifth generation Army.
Awesome.
But so anyway, we moved around a lot, and there was times when I wasn't with my family. At one point in time, my mom actually told one of my aunties just put me up for adoption. But I was always into a new school and a new environment. And one thing that we did learn growing up, financially embarrassed, was we had laughter. So we would
Mm.
play the dozens, we make each other laugh or whatever. And plus, my mother's side of the family has a great sense of humor. God bless them. And that went on into school with me. I've learned that if I can make people laugh, then they didn't want to fight me. Now, mind you, I've been the same height. I'm 6 feet. I've been the same height since I'm 13 years old.
Oh, he's a tall guy, tall
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. Well, this is what no, I didn't get any taller because Cool's King filters, they kind of stunted my growth.
Yeah,
Uh,
menthol.
yeah, menthol stunted my growth. Trying to be cool, but my point is that I used to just make people laugh. I mean, it was just in it trans. Then you start getting these HBO comedy specials coming out, and I used to watch them, and I used to memorize them, and I used to make people laugh. And then one day, I was in Oxon Hill, Maryland, 1990. I saw a flyer that said open mic, and I went, and lo and behold, the open mic was in Oxon Hill, Maryland, and it was being hosted by Chris Thomas. And Chris Thomas used to be he was the mayor of Yo MTV Raps back in the day.
Okay, okay.
And I went on stage, and he gave me the worst intro in the world. Yeah, it was horrible. Because I wore my cowboy hat and I had this big old belt buckle that I used to wear. It was my lucky. It was we call them trophy buckles, but
Uh-huh.
it was my good luck buckle is what I called it. And he said, "Coming to the stage, y'all have seen him on World Wrestling Federation. He's famous.
No.
Y'all give it up for Coco Beware." And yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I went out on that stage and I got some laughs, but I bombed. I bombed horribly. I bombed so bad I should have changed my name to Ahmed. I was a terrorist.
Oh, I love him.
But so yeah, but that's where it started. So yeah, I wasn't always I mean, I would crack jokes and I was funny enough to keep people off of me. But one of my first comedy inspiration, well, of course, my mama is my comedy inspiration. But there was a young man named Maurice White who I used to play the dozens with. And he was so good at it. I mean, we do it to the point where we would we would do it to the point to where we would do it to other people to the point to where they wanted to fight.
Mm, mm, mm.
But him, and then there's one white guy named Roy Johnson. Roy and I were academic rivals. Okay, if he got an A, I had to get an A plus. It was, but he had the driest wit, and he would just drop it out of nowhere on you.
Hmm.
Um, he just don't know how. I mean, I thanked him in person at a class reunion, but he just don't know how much he had a lot to do. Him and Maurice White had a lot to do with my comedy prowesses.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's right. You learn
I
to
was
be a comic to get people off of you, huh?
exactly, but like my postal worker the other day. I said, "Hey," I saw her, I was driving off. I said, "Hey, knock on the door. My wife's got something for you. It's an arrest warrant, but she got something for you." And she said, "Oh, okay." She said, "Did you say arrest warrant?"
It just comes out just like
I
that, you
just,
know?
you know,
Yeah, but our generation, I just think that we were groomed with that. I mean, just comedy was survival for us to just kind of cope with that, the madness that was our life, you know? So, you know. But I want
and
to backtrack a little bit because you mentioned something that I think I just want to kind of peek in a little bit. You mentioned your daughter is now the fifth generation,
mhm,
and your family history is very rich. Could you just tell us where you guys are? What about? Give
okay,
me that real quick.
okay. I'm the great grandson of a Buffalo soldier.
There you go.
I
There
am a
you go.
grandson of a Tuskegee Airman.
There you go.
My father was a Vietnam veteran.
Okay.
My mother's father was a Vietnam and Korean War veteran. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. Um, our lineage goes back to beyond the Buffalo Soldiers. Actually, my great great grandfather was was a I say it all the time. I say it in my act. I'm sorry. He was black and Indian Choctaw. I'm sorry,
Doctor.
but he was Choctaw. He was he was part of the Union Army. So
Okay.
my our family history goes back, goes back multi generations. I I'm here today, and now my military career wasn't that illustrious at all. I tell people I'm a very proud retired private E1, and people that don't know what that is, that's the lowest possible rank you could obtain in the military. But I'm very proud, even though I was not the best soldier. I am proud of those that came before me because I am fortunate enough to stand on the shoulders
There you go.
of very big people who did very great things and will tell you they did nothing. I have my uncle and great uncle, two uncles and a great uncle that served in Vietnam, and they would never would talk to me about it. But even after I got out the military, I had to find a way to continue to serve, even though
Mhm.
I've been to Europe 3 times to entertain our U.S. troops doing comedy.
Mhm.
I started an organization called Thank You for Your Service.
Thank you.
And what Thank You for Your Service is a thank you card that we created.
There you
And
go.
it's got some pretty words on the inside of it that
Okay.
I wrote with my high school education. And there's a dog tag that goes with it because every veteran has a dog tag.
Mhm.
And what this says, it says, we thank you for your service and sacrifice. You are appreciated. It's a small token of appreciation, but we have sent this out to over 29,000 veterans worldwide in the last
Awesome.
12 years. And this is how I continue to serve. Matter of fact, I gave one of those to a gentleman who was a full bird colonel who served in Vietnam. And he told me what I was doing was indeed leadership. And I said, "Well, thank you, sir." He said, "Well, Davis, what did you want to do when you was in the military?" I said, "I want to be a colonel." He said, "Well, hell, we can make that happen right here in this airport." I'm like, "Excuse me?" So he was wearing a colonel's rank on his vest with his Vietnam ribbon. He took it off and he says, "By the power invested in me by nobody, I hereby promote you to full bird colonel."
Oh.
I say, "Well, sir, if we're gonna do it, let's make it official. We gotta do it right." He's, "Oh, you want me to pin it?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." So he takes it from me and he pins it on my lapel. And part of the pinning process, you're military brat, you know how it goes. Yeah, it's gotta hurt.
Mhm.
That old son of a gun had to be about 76 years old. He threw his arm back and I heard it click. No, I heard it click like a 9 millimeter, clack, clack. And he let go. Wow. I'm like, you know what, man, I will fight you. Wins win. But so he promoted me to full bird colonel, and I wore that rank or I was on business trips, only brought the one blazer with me. So I forgot it was there. I wore that pin there until people I wore it for 3 days. And I would forget it was there until people go, "Hey, how you doing, Colonel?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta take it." Because I didn't want nobody thinking I was trying to do the stolen valor thing.
Gotcha. Colonel Longhorn. Okay.
It has a nice ring to it, you
Yes,
know.
indeed. Yes,
I keep
indeed.
I keep trying to get my wife to call me that, but now my girlfriend, she will, but my wife won't. I don't know what that's about.
We're
Anyway,
not gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into that. So
my
are
wife,
you still
my wife and girlfriend are one and the same.
same people, depending on if it's Tuesday or Thursday, right?
And what wig she has on.
What week? So are you still going to give do performances for the military?
If they would call me back, yes, I would. I haven't did well, last time I was there was 2013.
Okay.
And ironically, I am going to in March, I'm going to I'm going to be at Fort Polk, Louisiana, well, Leesville, Louisiana. The command sergeant major that brought me to Germany 3 times has since retired from the military and opened his own comedy club at Leesville, Louisiana, outside the military base. And I'm going to be going down there to perform again for the troops. But I have traveled all over the country,
Awesome.
performing at military bases. It's something that I truly, truly love. And then I'm a keynote speaker as well.
Okay.
So I was at St. Bonaventure University and got to go there for their Veterans Day situation and spoke there and spent some time with the cadets there as well.
Okay.
So and a lot of what I do, whether it's comedy or speaking, my books, is centered around veterans, and I do a lot of veteran fundraising. So I continue to serve, and then the part that you probably didn't know is that I'm a veteran suicide prevention advocate and keynote speaker.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned
Um,
the Vietnam vet. I don't think a lot of civilians understand the process, why it's so stressful coming home and
okay, I wish I had more time on your show, but I did. I have my own show that I do. It's called Messages in the Madness. It's on YouTube. But one of the episodes that I did was 10 things. No, um, what I did is I talked about 10 things that people do not know about veterans. It was called Understanding the Misunderstood Veteran
okay.
because most people don't understand. I didn't tell people I was in the military for 20 years when I got out.
Wow.
Well, almost 20 years.
Wow.
And the reason for it is because we were misunderstood. I was there as a storm era.
Okay.
So back then, everybody thought that if you were prior military, you had PTSD. And then everybody was using that phrase, he going postal. You remember that? Oh, I'm gonna go postal up in here. Well, so for a long time, I didn't mention that I was in the military. I just like the Vietnam vets, they hid it.
Yeah, that whole
They didn't
stigma.
tell you. They tell you they rather tell you they was in prison than tell you that they, served in Vietnam.
Mm.
Or they just didn't talk about it at all. So, but yeah, for a long time I didn't talk about it. But the reason being is because our society, unfortunately, believe it or not, only 1% of the population ever actually serves in the military. Only 1%.
And I hear they're struggling to recruit some these days.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. And okay, don't get me started on that one. Um, I'm sorry. These checks that they giving out for the government, there ain't enough for you to go. I mean,
But the benefits.
yeah, I get that. I gotta, yeah, okay, but I would not detract from a young person that was thinking about going joining the military. I would tell them go
Mhm.
because it will it will make you a new person. It will change you. It will teach you discipline and respect and honor and pride, which I still carry with me to this day.
Mhm.
A number of things that I hear, even the flags on my wall are arranged in a military fashion.
Yeah,
But these are
okay.
things that I was taught.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, especially people of color, a lot of us have not been taught our history or taught how we have contributed to this country in uniform.
Mhm.
And in that presentation that you and I talked about briefly, I do a presentation called From the Buffalo Soldiers to the Tuskegee Airmen. I talk all the way back to beyond the Civil War, not Civil War, the Revolutionary War,
Mhm.
and the things that we as people of color have done in honor of this country. So, but a lot of our young people aren't taught that. So then, therefore, they don't quite see the military in the fashion that I might or you might be being a military brat yourself and know of the sacrifices because it's not something that they are taught in school. These days, they're just teaching them to pass tests and get out.
Yeah, yeah. And then they're at this point they're really trying to cover up a lot of the history that was going on. I mean, if you go back, I think I don't want to misquote, but I think I read even when it came down to Paul Revere, there was actually a black guy that was on a horse, riding alongside with him. But that part just gets overlooked
Um,
conveniently.
Thomas Edison was credited for creating the light bulb, but it was actually a black man who actually found the right filament that actually worked for his light bulb.
There you go.
So he would have been the creator, but no, they gave it to Edison.
Yeah,
I mean,
we get overlooked all the time.
refrigerators, open heart surgery, stoplights. Benjamin Oliver Davis Jr., who was General Benjamin Davis, when he retired, he worked for the National Transportation Department, and he was the creator of the 55 mile an hour speed limit. The
Oh,
T, yeah, the TSA, they came to him to fix. They like, hey, look, we got some aviation issues. These skyjackings back in the 80s. We need you to help us out with that. General Benjamin O. Davis
there you
uh,
go.
created the TSA for the most part.
There you go. We got skin in the game. We got skin in the game, as they say. Well, let me get on to your books here real quick before I run out of time. Oh, what
I'm
happened?
sorry. I'm sorry. I
No, no,
talked.
no. It's not. No, no. I love it. It's just me. I try to pack in so much, and I should really just try to do two or three things. But I'm gonna get it in. I'm gonna take up some more of your time. So please forgive me.
I'm good. You know what? I had you scheduled, and it's Friday. Yeah, my day job. I'm a leadership consultant for a automobile manufacturer. I'm not going to give them no credit right now, but I'm a leadership consultant for them. So my day was done about an hour ago.
Okay, okay. So I got some time, so I can pack it in here. So let me move on to Mr. Arthur Longhorn. Messages in the Madness. What will the reader find in that? What's that?
A bunch of oh my gods. I know he didn't write this. Um, Messages in the man. Okay, first of all, my mother, God bless her soul, Reverend S. Candy Williams. God bless her.
Reverend,
I am a PK. I am a preacher.
you're a preacher's kid. Oh, you was one of those bad. Okay, all right.
Okay.
My daddy, the military man that makes me a military, but he was also a preacher's.
Okay. Let me say this for the ladies. Yeah, ladies, I'm a PK, baby. I'm a preacher's kid.
A preacher's kid.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, you know what they say about us preachers?
Yeah, yeah, them preacher kids. Them boys are nothing but trouble. Them not nothing but trouble.
And I am the full embodiment of
Lived up to the name. Lived
I
up to
am
the
got caught doing something I shouldn't have been in the pews in the
not
church,
in the
up
church,
in
in the
the
church
balcony,
house, in
in
the
the
church
balcony.
house.
It,
Oh,
it, hey, it was a blessed moment. Yeah.
anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the
You know,
book.
those little blankets that they throw over the women when they get the Holy Ghost.
Yes, when they go,
They
no,
come, they come in handy. That's all I'm gonna say.
let's go talk about the book. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm trying to get into the gates of heaven. Please, let's talk about the book. I'm gonna be up there like, Lana, you remember back in 2023 when you had that interview with Mr. Davis?
Explain this. Explain this. But like, Jesus be like, don't worry about it. We know that fool. We know that. But it was funny, but we know that. All right. So my mother, before she passed, she wrote two books.
Okay.
And I have them right over here to my left, up on my little book my book stand over here. And I was sitting here during the pandemic, and I had redid my office, and I got a lot of stuff off of Facebook Marketplace. I mean, completely redid my office, wood desk and wood. I mean, I spent less than $300 to do it. And I'm sitting here and I say, I need another project. I started my garden outside and, I did all kinds of stuff. And I did exactly this. I'm like, what am I going to do next? And I looked back and I looked over and I looked right there. And my mother's two books were sitting there on top of the Holy Bible. And I said, you know what? Because see, I've been writing. I read it, my first book. It took me 13 years to write it because I've been writing little essays and short stories and things of that nature about my life
Mhm.
and about the comedy game and things of that nature. I said, I'm gonna write me a book. And so I sat down here and I put together the book. And my wife, who's a retired educator and a very good wordsmith,
Uh-huh.
she edited it. And I sat here at this very spot and I said, Lord, okay, I got this book together, but how am I going to get it published? I don't have the money to get it published. And I typed into Google how to publish a book for
Mhm.
free. And the first thing popped up was Amazon.
Amazon.
And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
said, we will publish your, I'm like, well, look at God. And I
There you
published that first book and the pandemic kept going. And I sold like 8 copies. Yeah. Yeah, whole eight. Uh,
go.
no, I
Eight is
sold,
better than zero. Eight is better than zero.
but well, my logic behind it, I told myself, I didn't care if I only sold one book. If I publish this book and I sell one, I feel like I am a success.
There you go.
Okay. So the pandemic continued and I continued to write. And so I said, well, you know what? You ain't doing nothing else. You might as well publish a second book. So what I did was took the first book and the second book and combined them and created it's called Messages in the Madness Revisited
Okay.
2021. And I've done rather well with it. Actually, online sales, and I sell them a lot at
Good.
my shows. And I use that book to help keep our mission of thank you for your service going. But what the book is about is honestly just my life as a soldier, as there it is.
There you go. There's the cowboy hat.
Yeah. But it's life. On the front of it says my life as a regular guy pursuing dreams and that's bad. I gotta put my glasses on. But my arm ain't long enough no more. You know how that goes.
Yeah, you gotta kind of get that little visual thing go. Okay.
It
All
says
right.
my life as a regular guy pursuing dreams and living life just like you with a twist. And so, like I say, I put this one together. It's available on Amazon. And it talks about love and life and my family and struggles. And one thing I can tell people, I guess you could say it's not a self-help book, but there's something in here for everybody.
Okay. Okay.
And the purpose of it is I talk about everything from my own suicide, my own plans of suicide when I got out the military. I talk about it. I talk about depression. I talk about you name it. I talk about. But
Everything.
the point behind the book is I don't want nobody feeling sorry for me because I'm just fine. But what I want people to find is some hope and some motivation because honestly, if you take my name out of it and put your name into it, everything that's applicable here is applicable to you.
Hmm.
Now I'm not going to say I've had, I've never given birth to a child, maybe a set of twins. It may have felt like I was, but I'm not saying that I've been through everything. But I even talk about what's called the crossroads, which a friend of mine who was into Reiki magic had given me the spell. And I was going to go to the crossroads like so many other um, entertainers who have gone on to have a luxurious careers,
Ah, ah.
actually considered going to the crossroads and
Sell your
giving my.
soul. Okay.
But what happened? I'm also an ordained minister.
Ah, okay. Well, okay. Let me try to package this all up. You mentioned your wife is an educator. So my thought was, you guys walking around and she giving you that look and that lecture all the time, like, oh, we're about to go in this place. I need you to behave yourself.
Oh, she does. She still does that.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
yeah, she still does that. Yeah, we was at Dollar Tree yesterday, and yeah, we was getting our grandkids Christmas presents. Yeah, yeah, we ain't got that kind of money. Um,
Times is rough out there. We are
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Them grandkids, they gonna get they're gonna give gift cards
And
to
you mentioned you have how many?
30,
Again?
14. Yeah, 14, But we only buy for 7 of them because that's the only ones we can remember the names of. But but no, yesterday we were at Dollar Tree and she put in the wrong PIN number. And I was like, see, you should have told your little boyfriend put some money in the card, huh? Uh-huh. See, here, move out the way. I'll go and pay for it right quick. But you need to tell your little boyfriend he need to give you some money. At least you can stop, you can shop at Dollar Tree.
Mm.
The woman say, is this your husband? She goes, yeah, it's my husband. She said, how do you do this? She goes, girl, I've been doing it for 20 years. I don't even know. So, but
You know,
I
you
tell
keep a
people,
woman laughing. You keep a woman laughing. That's.
I told her, I say, look, people, because in my act, I say, yeah, my wife, I asked my wife, why did she marry me? She said, oh, it was court ordered. It was either, life, it was either life in prison or 10 years with you. So I took 10 years with you. At least I got Wi-Fi. And
Oh my God.
yeah, and I say, well, 10 years was up, because we were together 10 before we got married. And so she says, well, I said, well, we've been married longer than 10 years. She goes, yeah, I thought I'd stick around. The Wi-Fi is really worth it. So,
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Internet is expensive. So, hey,
since,
just kind of
since I'm,
weigh it all out here on
right.
60.
Yeah, since I'm here anyway, I might as well.
Anyway, just stick around. Let's stick around. Well, let me close this out real quick, Mr. Davis, with you have your own comedy booking agency. One of the things that I do want to ask you, because you've been in this for a minute, advice to a new comic going on stage and you get that crickets. Any advice to the new comic who's wanting to get involved or get into this?
If you go on stage and you get crickets, take that cordless mic, tie it around your neck, and jump off the stage. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong. I'm sorry, wrong.
Okay. We're supposed to be inspirational,
Oh, my
motivating.
bad.
You two can do this, and I see the best in you.
Lana, you forget it's a cordless mic. It's cordless. Okay. But no. Honestly, the best advice I would give any new comic, first and foremost, tell your jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your story. Read, which is what a lot of comics don't do. They just think, okay, I can make people laugh. I make my friends and family laugh. I can do okay on stage. If you don't know where you've been, then you don't know where you're going. Yeah. So you need to go pick up a book and learn something about comedy, like the Comedy Bible, for instance. I read that book and I rewrote. I read that book after about 7 years in comedy and rewrote every joke I had. But
I didn't know there was such a thing. Okay.
Yes, it's called the Comedy Bible. Then, brother, you remember not DL Hughley, but D. Militant?
Yes.
Okay, God bless his soul. He passed away. I can't think of his real name, but he wrote a book called The History of Black Comedy. Okay. Read, learn where we came from, as far as comedians are concerned, because then you'll have a better understanding. And then the other piece, learn to do public speaking, because that's what comedy is. You can't do comedy looking at the floor like this or reading off a piece of paper.
What's his face does that? Well, it's a portion of his set. Dion Cole. Yes, yeah, he does that part right there.
Hold on. You want his phone number? I got it right here.
Yeah, he does that part where okay, let me check and see if this is working with the crowd. And I mean, he's been doing it for years. He's been doing
I know Dion. I've been knowing Dion 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's always been his thing. And I see some comics trying to copy that style, which brings me to my last point. Dion Cole has a job. D.L. Hughley has a job. Robin Williams had a job. All these other comedians have had, they already got that spot. Mm-hmm. Be you. Stop trying to be somebody else. Stop trying. I mean, we don't need another one of these. We need you to be you and bring you to the stage. Mm-hmm. When I come, I introduce myself. They, oh, you must be the comedian. I'm like, well, I'm Vernon Davis. Longhorn is the guy you're gonna see on stage.
Okay.
And they
I
go, well,
like
is
that
that the
too.
same person? I'm like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. They are.
People,
Then I
Dr.
do.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Then I do my act, and they go, oh, yeah. I like to call myself the outlaw, the gentleman, the gentleman outlaw.
Mhm.
I'm the
Okay.
gentleman outlaw of comedy because yes, I come across as a nice guy, nice persona, and my persona on stage is, oh yeah, he's a bad boy,
Them
but I can
preachers'
do,
kids. Them preachers' kids.
but I do it in a fashion where I don't have to talk all up under your clothes.
Mhm. Well, let me ask you this because your comedy booking agency is
Hmm?
very diverse. We talked about that as well. What types of comics do you have within your agency?
Alive.
Alive. That's it. Just all have to be breathing. They could be
No,
pink with purple dots, and they're good to go.
the truth of the matter is, every comic that's on our label, mine, and like I said, I'm co-owner.
Okay.
My business partner is also an Army veteran, and I call him my brother. His name is Richard Elson Peter. Um, every comic that we have on our label is handpicked. We've actually stood and watched them perform somewhere and said,
Mhm.
yes, we want this particular comic because we know what they're going to bring.
Okay.
And our comedy, like I said, our comedy booking agency is called Laughter Has No Color,
Mhm.
simply because, okay, the name came from a show I did. I opened for a guy named David Allen Cole. This is old school. You have to look that up. He did some music in the 70s that was not very kind to black people.
Mhm.
But that was the night that I learned laughter has no color. And so that's why we came to. But our booking agency, we book black, white, Hispanic, uh, being politically correct, regardless of what your sexual walk of life is, alternative lifestyle. We have comics in all those genres. I
Mhm.
even have a comic that has no arms, no legs, and his name is Brett. And that so we got voted one of the top 30 because of our diversity, because we really believe that laughter has no color
As it
unless
should be.
unless you have very funky breath.
As it should be. Well, Longhorn, let me ask you my random question, and
Yes.
then I'm going to ask you to tell us how we connect with you when the next show we catch you live, perhaps maybe, or one of your comics live. But let's see here what we got here. Let's see her. If you won $1 million, what would you buy first?
Wow. A pack of cigarettes.
Mm-mm,
You
mm-mm,
asked me, no, because I'm not gonna believe I did this. So I'm gonna sit here and smoke this pack of cigarettes while I figure out what the heck am I gonna do with this money. No,
mm-mm,
the
mm-mm.
very first thing that I would buy for me, if the very first thing I would buy if I won $1 million, I would give my wife the vacation she always wanted.
Ah, okay. So she wouldn't have to give you the side eye look in the Dollar Tree anymore. Okay. Okay.
No, I'd be like, baby, I won $1 million. You're going on vacation. Where would you like to go? And
Okay.
then, she'd tell me and I'd buy the tickets and everything. And then when she got on the plane, she realized it was a one-way ticket. Um, so
Where is she? I got to have a conversation with the missus here.
no, but I that's what I would do. I would get us the vacation that I would just let her pick where she wanted to go, and that's where we would go. And then I would return and take care of all of our responsibilities, and then set something aside for our, just not a lot because yeah, not a lot, but something aside for my grandkids.
Yeah, they have to learn the power or the working, the work ethic, the work. You can't just be handed everything in life.
Yeah,
You
and then
can't.
maybe I could pay off some of those warrants in California. I can return. Um,
Sir, tell us how we connect with you, possibly see you on stage, get this laugh in person. Just give us that.
well, there's always Walmart. You walk in and they got those wanted ads right there. Yeah, they used to do
You're
them in the
not the
post
greeter.
office.
You're the greeter. You're the greeter checking our receipts as we walk out there,
I
huh?
got I got fired from that, hitting on the old ladies in Walker. Just so I got fired from that. But you can find me at www.longhorncomedy.com.
Okay.
or you can find me at www.vernonedavisi.com.
Oh, okay.
Or you can just Google me, Vernon Longhorn Davis or Longhorn the Comedian.
There you go. And you are open for bookings and stuff like we can.
Yes, yes. I have all my warrants paid. I am free to travel the country. I even have a passport.
Okay, all righty. We can get you out the country too. All right. Well, Mr. Davis, preacher's boy, preacher's son, I have truly, truly enjoyed my time with you today. Truly, I mean, nothing beats a good laugh and a good spirit and good energy. And I'm praying for your wife. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm praying for your wife.
Miss Lana, let me say this to you. Thank you for what you do, because see, here's the deal. Not very many people are kind enough, sweet enough to reach out to us as Black men, the endangered species that we are, the positive Black men out here, and give us some shine. Those who are not as positive or upwardly mobile or successful, we don't get that. Now, you go out and you start some trouble, you go to jail, you do this, anything above the norm, you're going to get all the movies that they're making now are about what we shouldn't do.
Yes.
You, my friend, thank you for highlighting those of us who are really trying to make a difference in our communities. I thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I thank you. I thank you. That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid. Where's the Longhorn? Where's the little one?
I'm sorry.
Where's the little guy, the little Longhorn?
Yes, don't forget Little
Yeah,
Horn.
yeah, he has to say goodbye. All righty. That's all. And I will see everybody next time.